Hello. Welcome to our yin flow for this week. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Um, I'm going to change up what I just did at the studio. In the studio, I talked a little bit more about the monastery and the importance of silence and seeking the answers from inside. But I want to change the direction for what we're doing today in this class. We're going to focus on a Taoist meditation, and I'm going to save that for the end. But the Taoist meditation is called Inner Smile. And I want you to think about just the warmth a smile can bring. And it could be when you smile yourself, you could be sharing that to other people when you're acknowledging them, but also what someone giving you a smile can do for you. Sometimes that's all we need is just to be acknowledged. So I'm getting ready to turn 50, you guys. And I just got my first AARP in the mail yesterday. I showed my son and he started laughing. He says, "You're not even 50 yet." I'm like, well, it's coming up in a few weeks. And beyond that, the other day, my girlfriend and I were talking about something. I can't even remember what it was, but I basically said, yeah, well, I'm starting to feel what most women have talked about. You know, you get a certain age and you're kind of looked over or looked past or um, not really ignored, but just kind of set to the side. And I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to feel what these other women have mentioned in the past. And neither here nor there, but when someone even just acknowledges you and just gives you a smile, doesn't it feel good? And it brings such warm, kind, generous energy. And so that's what I want us to do for our own meditation at the end. We're going to be smiling inwardly to ourselves through that meditation. Now, the first pose that we're going to start with is going to be a yin pose, but I do want to warn you today, the yin flow is going to be more active than passive. And some of this is just going to be a mix in general, but we will have time to steep in some yin positions. In fact, the first one, we're going to be creating the shape of a smile, right? So the shape of the smile is like, curved like the crescent moon or banana asana. So that's what we're going to start with. Let's be sure to have a strap, bolster, and blocks available today. So once you come to your backs, your legs will walk over to the right. Your arms will lift overhead, and you'll swerve the upper body that same direction. But let both heels rest on the floor. I know a lot of yin teachers say cross the ankles, and even though that gives you a better stretch, it disrupts circulation. So I do not advise that. Keep both your sides of your seat nesting on the floor and both shoulder blades at rest on the ground. And go ahead and close your eyes. Feel the shape of the body. And you can even turn your outer lips up if you want to mimic this with your lips. Open up the capacity of your lungs by taking deeper sips of breath. Connecting to the lunar side of the body, this left side panel, and paying attention to where you feel sensation. And it's possible that sensation may pipe up more as you inhale, and it's possible it might lessen on the exhale. Now that we've been opening up in this shape, I want us to line up the body in a straight line, like the numeral one, reaching the arms and fingertips back and pointing the toes forward. And then exhale, soften that stretch and walk your feet over to the left corner and swerve the upper body to the left as well. Both heels, both sides of your seat, and both shoulder blades at rest. Now opening up the solar or right side body. And pay attention, noticing, is the sensation showing up in the same spot or somewhere else? For instance, on that previous side, I was feeling it more in my waist. And on this side, I'm feeling it closer to my shoulder. Be sure to continue to give loving, kind attention to any problem areas, any areas that cause you issues or grief or discomfort. Instead of being aggravated with those areas, smile inwardly towards those areas. Remembering this is the year to be seen, to be heard, to become more empowered. And that includes these little spaces within that need extra nurturing or healing. On your next in breath, let's go ahead and line the body up in a straight line and find your strap. And we're going to pull the right knee in first. Just a simple hold. Noticing the condition of this hip as you're here. Observing all of these little details is the mindfulness practice. And then take that strap and wrap it around the bottom of the right foot so that you can send it skyward. And as you sail that leg up, you're pulling ever so lightly on the strap, but with a loose grip. Finding that initial edge of flexibility and trying not to want or wish anything else, just meeting and greeting yourself exactly as you are and where you are today. Now that we've been opening the hamstrings a little bit, I want you to fire it into your left leg, meaning you're pushing out through the left heel, driving up through your toes, and pressing down through that left thigh. Take both ends of the strap into your right hand, free up your left arm, and slowly sail that leg to the right side of the room. Try to keep your pelvis from tilting or tipping. You're only externally rotating your right hip. From Padangusthasana B, lift the leg back up, swap your hand hold, free up your right arm, First, send the leg across your body. Secondly, turn your head over to the right side. So you're turning your head away from the leg that just sent you into the twist. Inhale, turn your head back to center, then bring the leg overhead. Exhale, bend the knee, remove the strap. All right, from here, sail that right leg back up, but take your hands behind your thigh. Scoop the belly in, begin to walk your hands up the back of the leg, and then walk them back down. All right, we're doing this a couple more times. Lifting up on the inhale, walking it down on the exhale. This time when you walk the arms up towards the calf, you're gonna float your left foot away from the floor, pointing your toes, and then scoop the belly in and see if you can lift the head a little higher up towards the knee. So allow this work to stem from your abdominals instead of pulling with your arms. Now, let it go. Extend your right leg, hug your left knee. Close your eyes, assess, and see what you're holding here. Now take the strap, and we'll do that Padangusthasana series, using the strap around the sole of the foot, sending it upward. And just notice, is the edge here similar or drastically different than the previous side? Sometimes that's the case, right? Depending on if we've had injuries in the past or surgeries. And if you haven't been injured or have had surgery and there is a drastic difference, then really continue your self-study. Compare it with the chakra system, that energetic anatomy, and just see how life is showing up in your body. And that way you know what you're working with. And then when you work at a psychological and emotional level, not just at a physical level, you'll be able to break some of that down and clear some of that out. Let's take the ends of the strap into the left hand, but fire into your right leg. Remember, we want to solidify the right leg down as much as possible. Flex out through that ankle. Slow, smooth breaths. Inhale, bring the leg up. Exhale, swap your hand hold. Free up the left arm and send the leg over and across the body. Turn your head to your left. This way, we're allowing that twist to come all the way up the spine to include the cervical portion of the neck. And there are days where it doesn't feel nice to turn the head. So if that's the case for you, don't force it. Inhale, turn the head back to neutral. Lift the left leg. Exhale, bend the knee. Remove the strap, set it to the side. And this is where we're going to do the walking tree. So send your left leg up. Walk your hands at the back of the leg. And then exhale, walk it down. Couple more times. Pause briefly at the top so you're not rushing it. This time we lift and hold. Hover your right foot. Scoop and lift. And when I mean scoop and lift, scoop to the belly and let your core muscles, your inner strength lift you up. But we're going to keep this going. Swap the legs, scoop, lift. Swap, scoop, lift. Inhale, swaps. Exhale, scoops and lifts. A little quicker breath. Keep it going. Remember, it's the abdominals lifting you. All right. Now lay out into that star-shaped position. Take up some space. Spread out your limbs. Let your belly stretch open after that core work. So breathe down low into your abdomen. Few more breaths. Mini rest. The yin corpse position or pentacle pose. Next, we're going to bend the knees, flatten the feet, bring your arms beside you, and then plug your arms, hands, feet to the floor. Inhale, thrust the hips up, and then exhale, drop down. Inhale up, exhale down. This is a faster bridge than what we normally do. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. As you're lifting, try to stay glued down to the mound of the big toes, which will keep the thighs rolling in and the knees narrow. Feel how much the glutes squeeze when you're lifting towards the top of that bridge. Good strengthener for those muscles in the buttocks. 2 more. And release. Good. Now hug your knees in. Take a long exhale. Affirming, I release my scattered forces to rise up and away into the sky. Hands on top of the knees, straighten your arms out, separate your thighs wide, bring them in towards your shoulders and back together at your breastbone. Then shove the knees away, straightening the arms, separating your thighs, pulling them in, and back together again. Now that you have this motion down, you can smooth it out. The inhale is when the arms straighten and the legs separate. The exhale is when the knees pull in and back together. Now, when you draw the knees back together at the sternum, we're going to reverse that flow. So we'll spread the knees and then push the knees away and then draw them together with your arms elongated and then bend the arms to pull them back in towards your chest. So we're basically creating that circular motion the opposite way as before. And again, you can smooth out those circles. And then roll over to one side of your body and come on up. I'm going to spin my body around so that I don't confuse you with the instruction. Basically, you're going to meet me on the mat like this. So just keep facing your device. Stay on your seat, knees bent, okay? And then just follow my lead. Your left hand's going to stay put, but your right arm's going to lift as the knees go left, and then you're going to reach that right arm out and away. You can even tighter grip your hands to create a little traction. And then inhale, let your right arm lift, your knees lift, your right hand lands as the knees lean over to the right, and then the left arm's going to stretch out and away. Inhaling, rainbow up and over to the other side. Inhale, rainbow it up, cross it over, and as you exhale, extend and release. Let's do one more to each side. Hopefully you have the space around you since we're going off the mat a little bit. And then inhale, back to center. All right, once you're here, let's come up to bear pose. So that's where your feet are parallel, toes point ahead, elbows residing on your thighs, buttocks back, crown forward, look down. Now, go ahead, straighten out through your legs. Let your arms release. And then just casually, cautiously sweep in a semicircle, right? Shape of that smile. Just gently swaying left to right, right to left, back and forth. The next time you sway back to the middle, heel, toe, the feet more in alignment, closer knit, and then the knees are going to bend and you're going to bow. You're going to hang out here in dangling pose, and of course you're welcome to cross your arms. You may find with the knees bending, your belly meets your thighs. Again, you don't have to force that to occur. Eventually, it will become more natural if it's not already. Now, inhale, bring your blocks in front of your feet, straighten your legs, straighten your arms, straighten your back. Lift through your knees, draw in through your core. Take your arms to your sides and up overhead, and you're gonna lace your fingers at the top and then push your palms up, up, up in the air. Dig your feet down into your mat as if you were sinking into sand. As you exhale, swan dive down, catch the blocks, bring them beside your feet, and step back with your left foot. Build your arms up, and if you need it to be more gentle, plant your back foot and do warrior one. But we're gonna lace the fingers together to this mudra, keeping the pointer fingers pointed upward, shrug the shoulders to the ears, hug your head with your arms, and then see if it's possible to back bend. Exhale, the hands are gonna come down to the blocks as you lower your back knee and untuck your back foot. Your right hand's gonna stack to your thigh so that you can kind of twist the left shoulder over towards the knee, not to put the shoulder to the knee, but to put the breastbone to the knee. Your blocks can remain to allow a spot for the elbows to rest, or you can dangle the arms to the floor. Just try not to lock the arms because we want the body to fall upon the knee. There is a marma or pressure point here for the heart chakra. And remember the two main organs here that it governs is the heart and lungs. Inhale, press down through the sole of the foot, build up to the pelvic floor, build up through your arms, and then take your right hand to your waist, take your left hand to the outside of that front knee. Exhale, unwind the twist, maybe lose the blocks because we're going to take a vinyasa. Let your palms plant, let your right foot step back, crank it down to chaturanga, build it into a back bend, maybe up dog, and exhale, roll it back to down dog. And we're going to do that twice more. Inhale, come forward plank. If you need to modify, do so. Lower and hover if possible. Open the heart next. And continue to downward facing dog. One more. Inhale, maybe plank or table. Exhale, chaturanga or half. Inhale to any back bend if this isn't conducive for your spine. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Let's travel the feet forward. Bend the knees. Dangling. Inhale, bring the blocks forward, stack your hands on top, straighten out through your legs, straighten out through your arms and your back. That may mean being on your fingertips versus flat palms, and that's all right. Root the feet, take your arms up overhead. Relace together, roll the wrists skyward, push the feet downward. Exhale, let go. Bring the blocks beside your feet. This time, the right foot sticks back. And if you need to come to warrior one in lieu of crescent lunge, that's okay. Create the mudra above and distribute your back bend. Exhale, release your hands. Use your blocks to assist in dropping the back knee shin foot. And when you're here, put the left hand on your thigh, spin over so that you're laying the breastbone on top of the knee, bowing your head. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, left hand to the hip, right hand to the outside of the front knee. Exhale, unwind. Let's lose the blocks. Let's plant the palms. Let's step back. Plank. Vinyasa. Feel free to modify. Feel free to skip. If you don't have it energetically today, to run through the flow. But if you have it, let's do two more. Pausing when you re-arrive to downward facing dog. We're not going to walk it up this time. Instead, we're going to come down to the knees. We're going to bring the big toes together. Slide your hands back. Separate your knees. Walk it out to tadpole. And just release down to your brow if you can. Another marma or acupressure point. This one is for the third eye. Let your elbows release, your fingers curl in, let your belly collapse. Inhale, lift the head and glide your arms back. Now, this is where I'm going to need you to kind of assess and determine the flexibility from your hips and inner thighs, because it may be that you want to rock your hips up like this, rest on forearms and flip the feet out like so. Maybe this is good enough for your frog pose. But my legs can actually go wider than the width of the mat. So I have to do this pose the long way on the mat so that I have that padding. All right, so once you're down on forearms, we're just gonna gently rock. Go so slow, because when you rock back, it's like, ay, yeah, 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 right? So just a rocking gently, sweetly back and forth. So we do this frog pose on occasion. It's not one of my favorites, so we don't do it very often. But this little rocking motion is something that puts us into the pose. But when we're rocking slowly back and forth, they are using this for somatic practices. And somatic practices are helpful in releasing trauma from the body, things that have been pent up inside. Just do a few more. Now to come out, usually I'll lean forward and bring one or both feet in, and then just casually work my way out. Okay, shake out your legs. That helped me. And then re-bend your knees. Okay. The left shoulder is going to fall to the inside of that left thigh, and your right arm's going to reach out and up towards the sky. However, I want you to push that left arm into your left leg, and notice when you shove that left arm back, how you have the opportunity to open and swizzle that chest a little bit more. Good, release that right arm, lean into that right knee, take the left arm up. We're not done. So kind of push the right arm back and see how you can swivel more into your twists. And then exhale, release. All right, I'm going to turn my back to you again. And I know some of you already know this, but just as a reminder, this time when we slide the left shoulder down, we're going to flip the left hand under. Now, a little trick of the trade is I duck lower in order to get that hand off the floor to the waist. You may or may not be able to do that, but that's just a little trick here. Right arm goes back up, and then you flip the hand. Thread that arm behind the back. And it's okay if the hands don't touch, but they might. And if they do, grip together. Right shoulder rolls back. Sometimes we do use a strap in between the hands, but that can get a little tricky. All right, regardless if your hands are tethered together or not, slide your right foot closer to you, and then lean onto your seat and pick up the left foot, and maybe, just maybe you can straighten out that left leg. And then tap the foot down, release your bind, and reset your right foot. Slip your right shoulder down, slide your right hand under, and again, if you duck your head, you might be able to lift that hand up to the body. Left arm reaches up, then flip your hand, thread the arm, maybe take a hold of the other hand, roll that shoulder back. Start to revolve out of the twist, bring the left foot in front of you, balance on your seat, and fly the right foot up. So just to show you, you can do it without your hand hold, right? And then exhale, release that down. Okay, done with that. I would like you to create your Stonehenge. And then obviously, since you're doing this from home, if you're in a room with furniture and you'd rather send your legs up onto an ottoman, chair, couch, you can. But we're going to lay on the back, flip the legs over, and I want us to do a restorative pose, kind of like a shavasana before the guided meditation. So go ahead and settle in. Gift yourself some silence here and practice that inner observation and deep inner listening. Now that we've brought some ease into the body, hopefully the mind as well, let's draw the knees in and roll to one side and prepare ourselves to sit. So I always find it helpful if we're on the floor to sit on something, whether it's a bolster at the edge and the knees are cascading down, or whether it's on your heels or a block in between your feet like this. If you have the furniture available and that is easier for your body, for your knees, right? Do that instead. And this is going to be the Taoist meditation called Inner Smile. So let's find some good posture. Close the eyes. And take a few deep breaths. I want you to think of the famous painting Mona Lisa. It hangs in the Louvre in Paris. That portrait that the general observer is not quite sure if she's smiling or not. It's so subtle. And that's what I want you to mimic with your mouth. A subtle upturn, the outer lips. At the same time, you're creating this casual, subtle smile. Gaze towards the midpoint of your brow, activating the third eye center. And place the tongue at the roof of your mouth, just behind the top row of teeth. Ever so light pressure in finding the perfect place for the tongue to be. Mona Lisa smile, tongue at the roof of the mouth, and gazing towards the brow. Let the energy collect and pool at this placement between your eyes, between your eyebrows. Imagine that this warm, bright energy is collecting like a pool of water. And as this continues, imagine your eyes are also beginning to smile. The same feel you get in your eyes when you're looking at someone you deeply love. Now allow this gathered energy that's been collecting in this pool to be drawn towards the midpoint of your head. So let it stream backwards into that place between your ears. In the Tao tradition, this place is called the Crystal Palace. The same area as the pineal gland that actually stores a cluster of crystals. But the crystal palace here is not just for the pineal gland. It includes the pituitary, the thalamus, and the hypothalamus gland as well. Let the energy continue to fill up the crystal palace and imagine it being like an iridescent, bright white shade. Allow the energy that's been filling up with this iridescent hue to come back to your eyes, to stream to your ears, nose, and mouth, to these sensory organs. And allow this charged, iridescent energy to come down through the esophagus, your windpipe, your lungs, your heart. Smiling, charged, iridescent energy is going to continue down to your stomach and spleen, across to the liver and gallbladder, down into the large and small intestines, the pancreas and the bladder, to the kidneys and even the colon, even on to the sexual organs. And at this point, you can just focus on the inner organs, as we've already done. You can place them into your bloodstream. This charged, smiling, iridescent energy can even flow to your muscles and bones. Smiling inwardly at all of these cells that make up your existence, that work harmoniously together, and to allow this charged, smiling, iridescent energy to move into any spaces or crevices or parts that need additional attention, nurturing, or healing. Maybe that goes all the way back up into the brain. Maybe it goes into the fascia. Kindly and lovingly now direct the energy where you think it may need to go. And trusting the body's natural intelligence to take it where you don't necessarily know that it needs to go. Pause the video if you want to utilize this meditation for a longer period. Otherwise, let the tongue fall away from the rooftop of the mouth. Build your hands to prayer position at your heart. May we all benefit from this Taoist meditation of the inner smile. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.